everyone. Welcome back to Triforce. This is a real podcast, not none of them temporary mailbag crappy old ones.
Yeah.
This is a real one. We got the real
here.
boys. We got the big boy Sips. We got Big Daddy Flax.
Howdy, partner.
We got me. So it's been a whole like 3 or 4 weeks since we've recorded a podcast.
Yeah,
Flax has been in the United States.
I've been in America, boys, doing a little tour of California. Let me tell you what a beautiful state that is. It's got everything. It's got everything. It's got everything. It's really something. When all
Have you embraced the culture? Are you now?
No.
Are you fully 100% American now?
No, absolutely not. Having spent, I mean, I've obviously I grew up in the States and I've been all over it, and I do love it. So I was saying to Lewis before we started that I sent myself occasional notes while I was away to just jog my memory about things that we had thought or seen that we thought were funny while we were over there. And as much as I love America, and I'm sure Americans listening to this will understand where I'm coming from, I love it, but it's insane. The whole place is insane, and a lot of it makes sense. A lot of it really doesn't make sense, and a lot of it just seemed completely bonkers. And it's kind of hard to say why it's mad, but it is mad. It is definitely mad.
It's exaggerated, America, isn't it? Everything's just
everything. But there's also just stuff that they do differently where you think, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain. So just to give people a quick recap of where I went. We went to California. Mrs. F had been there previously. I'd been there for work. I've been around LA a couple of times, but never really into LA. This was in Inland Empire, which is way out, really. So I didn't really get to see much of LA itself. And I've certainly never seen the rest of California. We went to San Francisco. Then we were there for a few days, and we went up to Sonoma, which is like wine country north of San Francisco.
Nice.
We went northwest to Sacramento. We didn't mean to go to Sacramento, which I'm sure is true of most people that end up in Sacramento. We didn't mean to go to Sacramento, but Yosemite was on fire, so we at the last minute had to rebook some dates. And Mrs. F was like, shit, well, we need to make our way down to Sequoia. So we went to Sacramento, and then we went to Fresno, which is not something that anybody in California ever does, from what I can tell.
right.
So we went to Fresno, then we went from Fresno across to Sequoia, looked at the trees there, were there for a couple of nights. Then we drove all the way from Sequoia over to Monterey, which is on the coast. Then we were in Monterey for a couple of nights. Then we went down the coast, and we went to San Luis Obispo, and we went to LA, and we went to Santa Barbara before that. So we went San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, LA, then we went to Santa Clarita to go to Six Flags, and then we came home. And yeah, it was a great trip. We really saw a bunch of California, and everybody said, well, you got to go to San Diego. We didn't get a chance. We'll go next time. So I'd like to get a San Diego and Las Vegas next time, honestly, and maybe spend a bit more time in Santa Barbara because it was gorgeous.
Well, that's exactly what some of the lads are doing when TwitchCon's coming. So,
oh, really?
So while you were doing that, I went to TwitchCon Amsterdam. You didn't go, did you, Sips?
Yeah, I was there. You don't remember? Nice guy. What a good friend.
Why were you not there? What was this? I guess family stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got new Bab. New Bab is sucking your time like big style, I guess.
Oh my god.
How are you handling the 3 kids now? Is it a lot more stress?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's too many kids. Like, I thought 2 was too many, honestly, and now 3 is just like, Jesus. There's always something. It's crazy. I just I fully now just eat standing in my hallway and stuff. Like, there's no time to really do anything.
It's like being in a battle. It's like being deployed in the field.
It's just nonstop chaos. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Two major shitting incidents happened.
Well, and the carpet is now, that's it, it's done.
Well, I mean, it's okay for now, but yeah, it's like you can clearly see where it happened. It's
right.
it's been like bleached and like anti-backed and everything. So there's just like a big circle in the middle of our floor that's completely off color to the rest of the carpet, and like the fibers are all like fucking hard and shit. Like I think all the poop is out, but it's it really did a number.
Do you know what I'm gonna say? That obviously, you know, we've both got kids. I'm way out of that stage now, and I'll be honest with you. I feel like the early stages, like pre-10, that's like being in a battle. Oh. It's like being in a serious war of attrition. It's brutal, but after that, it's like being in an occupying situation.
Yeah.
So it's like you You've got the original war, which is very bloody, a lot of casualties. It's a mess.
Right.
And then after that, now it's just a war of occupation. It's generally pretty chill, but there's a simmering
occasional
resentment and
uprising.
occasional
Yeah.
uprising. So
Yeah,
it's more like that. And the management becomes political rather than kinetic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like a
see.
physical war. It's more of a political war.
Well, we're getting
It's
a
a
bit of both
propaganda war.
sides because
Yeah.
my son is 10, going on 11. So
Yeah.
the sassiness has begun. He's going
Yeah.
into his last year of primary. So once he goes up to the big boy school, it's going to
Yeah.
be even worse, sort of thing. So we have the contrast of that with a fresh 1-year-old who is still teething and shitting and she was barfing like yesterday.
Nice.
So
took her out,
that
she's
would
just
be
barfing.
like your first is like the capital city. You've taken that. That's
Yeah.
cool. The area around it is getting more and more chill. But now a whole new front has opened up, and you've got to all these troops are going to come out of reserve. You know, your already depleted forces are now like, oh god, we got to handle this whole new front. It's going to be
I
tough.
feel like the troops already came out of reserve. That's why they had the third child. You know?
Oh man.
Whee!
The middle
see.
one, like I guess it's true what they say about the middle one. The middle one just gets forgotten. The problem with the middle one as well is that you expect them to be more like the eldest one, but our middle one's still 6. But we always like wrongly assume that she's much older than 6, so we're like probably a bit harder on her than we need to be, not allowing her to just be 6, right? Because
Right,
it's
yeah, 6
much
is
easier
little.
for us to have 2 older kids with a baby than it is to have
Yeah.
a middle kid with a baby as well.
Yeah.
So it's a weird one for sure.
This is why you have the third child as the arty child as well. Do you think this is all like all the memes are all true? You know, the first is the most responsible, the most effort, you took the most care, and you know,
We stressed about
most
our
expected.
first one a lot more than we do.
The high achiever.
Yeah.
It's weird
Yeah,
how
but
that
our
culture...
first is way more messed up than our second. Like, I think because we took more interest in it, we fucked it up. Like, we would have been much better off just
You should have been hands
letting
off
them be.
all along.
I mean,
Yeah.
a second is way more chill. So, you know, I feel like the first one you make a complete hash of. The
Yeah.
second one is a lot more chill. And then the third one is like barely, you know, you're barely paying attention at all. Probably going to be the bestest kid of the bunch, in all honesty. So I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Not that I'm comparing your children, and obviously you never
No,
would either.
it's compare away. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. So I made some notes while I was away on the trip and emailed them to me so I could remember them. So these are just
Okay.
things that either we said or thought.
It's like a TED digital diary.
Yes. There's not many. So bear with me. So this is the
That's
first
okay.
one. I was watching telly with Mrs. F, and she just said we were watching some adverts, and she said to me, "They're just obsessed with cheese, aren't they?" And
They're
honestly,
obsessed with cheese, but a lot
they
of their
are.
ads, in my experience, are about medicine as well. They have a lot
Yes.
of medicine ads.
a ridiculous number of medicine ads. My kids thought it was hilarious because half the ad is them telling you what's going to go wrong with you if you take
Yeah,
this
it's
drug.
all like the disclaimers, right? Do not
Yeah.
take if you're pregnant. Do not take if you're overweight. Do not take it. It's like excludes 100% of the American population, pretty much.
There
but
was one
still
that was quite
really
popular.
the hard sell.
There was one that was quite popular while we were there, where they said, "Do not take this drug if you were allergic to this drug." Well, duh, but also, how are you meant to know until you've taken it? Like, you can't wash your hands of that and be like, "Wow, we said don't take glabamaquil if you were allergic to glabamaquil, and you took it." It's like, well, I didn't know. But they're all like, "Ask your doctor about glabamaquil. May cause anal bleeding, penis tearing, eyeball explosions, hair loss." Like, it's literally like
Oh,
that.
explosions.
It's
Man, I
unbelievable.
gotta get me some of that.
Testicle explosions.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, so here's the
That's
next one.
They're obsessed
we-
with cheese as
they
well. We
are.
just glossed over that, but that
Sorry,
is
yes, no, they
definitely-
literally everything, every food. You think they've added as many things as possible. Like, I think this was from an old McDonald's or Burger King ad where they drop the parts of the burger onto a very bouncy-looking, no doubt fake bun to show you all the many things in this burger and how obviously wonderful and fresh they look in the advert. And there's always and topped with layers and layers of thick Monterey Jack cheese. And it's like just fucking cheese everywhere, all over everything. Nothing is a reasonable portion size. The whole time we were out there, we had so much food left over every time we ate, which is a classic thing to say about America, but it really is true.
Yeah.
Even in California, even in some pretty nice places we ate in, I was like, fuck me. Why is this so much food? It's so wasteful.
Yeah, it's every trip that we've been on. It's always said like, when you order food, you always end up with so much because we're used to
insane.
getting a reasonable sized portion that you're expected to finish, right? Like
Right.
if you dine out over here, they don't give you too much, and oftentimes actually they give you too little, right? But
Yeah.
the expectation is that you're going to finish your food, your plate of food or whatever. But in America, it's not. It's like 3 or 4 servings worth, and the expectation is that you take a bunch of it home with you.
Yeah. They'll always say to you, "Do you want me to want a box for this?" And we're like, "No, we're on holiday." We're like, "Oh, okay." Like, I wish you could say, "I'd like this burger," but in like a regular human portion, not the massive one. Just offer the price in half.
You got to get the kids meal, but you're not allowed to order kids meal items if you're not a kid.
I'm happy to even like pay the same. Just give me less.
Give me less, just so I don't feel as bad about wasting this food. Yeah.
Just like it definitely puts a downer on the end. But I guess it's actually because there are certain people who are. I guess it's a standard, right? They're expecting a certain amount, and they'll leave a bad review if they don't have enough. It's like, oh, they're very stingy with their portions.
It's become a cultural thing for sure.
Do you know what I mean?
There are plenty of big
it's just safer
Americans.
just to give people an extra 25 chips.
Yeah.
But I will say in California, there weren't as many really big Americans.
Oh,
like
really?
I feel like it's a much healthier state in general. A lot of people seemed in great shape. In San Francisco in particular, and in LA, so many people working out, jogging, running, cycling, a lot more active.
Yeah.
When you go to Florida or something like that, it's like Gordo country. Everybody's fucking enormous.
Well, I think it's the demographics different too, right? Like in Florida, there's like a lot of like older people, but like middle aged, but like pushing people pushing like mid 40s to 50s and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think that's when a lot of
the middle aged spread.
Yeah, a lot of spread occurs, right?
Yeah,
peanut butter. That's what it is.
They from my experience with Americans as well, they know a lot about food. Right? Like they almost obsessively know a lot about food and like seasonings and sauces and stuff like that. I know I've got a pretty bland palate and like I eat fairly bland stuff. I eat like a 5-year-old like most of the time. But
your favorite food is margarita pizza.
Sure. But they're like they are on the complete polar opposite end of the spectrum. Like the stuff that they're talking about, like like it's all like this really like outlandish, fancy, like when they talk about like ordering like a meal in from like a takeout or whatever, and it's just like, holy crap, like just get some chips or something. Like what's all this stuff you're talking about? Like, I mean, it's crazy. But then they also seem to be somewhat aware of like calories and stuff. But you think, holy crap, you've just described like 5 or 6 things that are going to be bundled into this meal of yours. Like you got to be talking like 6,000-7,000 calories for one meal here.
Yeah,
but like
crazy.
it's just a given, when you hear them talk to each other about it, everybody's in the know. They're all like, oh yes, oh gosh, yeah, the serpentine goulash is just so great. Oh god, oh yeah, oh god, I would eat like a tub of that on the side if I could and stuff. And it's just holy crap, man.
But half their adverts, like so many of their adverts are for food. It's either food or drugs.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, the other big ones are law firms. And there was an advert that we saw actually for an advert out there. A guy comes up and says, "Hi, my name's Chet Hansful, and I represent you. And blah, blah, call this number." And it said in small print at the bottom that he was not licensed to practice law in California. I thought that was an incredible disclaimer.
That's such an American thing, isn't it? That's like about as American as it gets.
I guess he owns the firm, but it's just, why use him as a spokesperson? The guy who punches I won't actually be able to represent you in California, but come to us if you're in California. I will represent you, not in California. But yeah, it's like, what? How does that work? How could you? This is my lawyer. He can't actually represent me. I'm not sure why I've hired him. It was a good commercial. That's pretty much.
Did you watch any Sunday TV? Sunday TV is just a completely different kettle of fish, like to like their normal weekly TV. Because Sunday morning TV is it's all church stuff, right? Like most of the channels almost like have big church segments, or the evangelicals have like a slot on certain channels and stuff like that.
I mean, we get songs of praise on a Sunday. I guess that counts.
I was saying this the other day I was talking about this and saying about songs of praise, but songs of praise is not like ram it down your throat either, right?
No,
it's just a bunch
very
of
Church of England.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of choirs singing hymns and stuff like that. Man, you can kind of take it or leave it, right? Like it doesn't really matter.
It's not aggressively God.
Yeah. There's not somebody curing, you don't need these crutches anymore, and doing like the hand blast on the forehead and stuff like that.
They never said, "A Jesus, Jesus." That's not coming up on songs of praise.
No. It's way too much, right? Like it's
today we're at Ely Cathedral, the Church of the Undivided Trinity, and we will be beginning the ceremony with hymn number 44.
Yeah.
God-
Oh, for he is so glorious, or some hymn like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he did enjoy a nice summer's
And then
day.
the camera will pan around
Starring
this small church with about 25,
Old people.
elderly folks.
Like
with their hymn
25
books.
like elderly Thatcher lookalikes, right? They all have
Yeah.
like the hats and the fucking like the pencil dress and stuff like that on, but they're like 95 years old. It's yeah.
All right, so here's the next reminder. All this is 3 words. Cabby. Fresno? Jesus. So we got in a cab at one point, and the guy asked us where we were going next, and we said Fresno, and he literally went, Jesus. Like, we'd really insulted him. And everyone we spoke to in California when we said we were going to or had been to Fresno had the same sort of very visceral reaction. No, to be fair, when we were there, it was 41 to 42 degrees. It was unbelievably hot. The hottest I've ever been in a on the ground.
Jesus.
I was literally, he was like, Jesus. Like, he couldn't believe we were going to Fresno. And everyone was like, whatever you do, don't go downtown or be careful and all this kind of stuff. We stayed sort of outside of the town. We just had to spend one night there on the way to somewhere else. And that was the only place Mrs. F could find at short notice to book somewhere. So we didn't go there by choice. We literally did not see any of Fresno, but no Californians had a good thing to say about it. If you live in Fresno, I'm very sorry. I'm not having a go.
Fine.
What is the deal with Fresno?
Fine.
It's just, it's like one of the worst parts of California. That and Bakersfield. And...
But then again, it's probably like way better than like a bunch of the other cities in America.
Why is it so
generally.
bad though? Is it like known specifically
It's
for
quite violent, I think.
right,
I think
okay.
it's quite bad. And also, it's just a shithole, is what everybody said. Like, it's hot. There's nothing to do in Fresno. It's like being in an oven. Because California is shaped like, it's like, there's the coastline, then there's a huge mountain range, then there's a vast, beautiful farming valley, which is like, if this was Civ, this is like the ideal place. You would feed every city in your empire from this little section. It's unbelievable. Then there's another big mountain range. What did I say?
It's massive. That's the
Oh,
thing.
it's huge.
This
yes.
valley, yeah.
It's huge.
I always picture it like that World of Warcraft zone that had the you remember the Naga were pumping all of the water out of that zone in like that big
That's
hydro pumping
California
facility,
right there for sure.
and
Yeah.
then that's where Tom Selleck works. He's got that water pumping facility and he's denying all the locals of all their water.
The
It was like that.
Joaquin Valley, the Central
It's amazing.
Valley. Yeah, Central Valley. Yeah, it's an amazing place, honestly, because you see. They have to pump huge amounts of water into it from
It's crazy.
miles away as well.
So you see these
Probably, yeah.
reservoirs. There's this reservoir. I think it's called the California Reservoir. I could be wrong. It's probably called the San something Reservoir. But either way, it's on the way into Monterey from Fresno. We went past it. Californians will know. It's a vast, vast lake surrounded by hills. And this is their reservoir for like this part of California. Obviously, this is connected by irrigation to all of these farms because it's so much farmland.
There's so
and they're
many
growing
reservoirs,
so
yeah.
many different things.
It's
I
mad. It's
wish
huge.
they weren't growing so many fucking almonds because apparently they're like the thirstiest plant. Stop growing so many fucking almond trees. You're killing yourselves.
It's still better than cow milk, though. That's the thing. It's
Right,
still
but
way
so
better.
almond milk is
Way,
meant
way
to be better, right? But California is growing all of these almonds. Like we went past mile after mile after mile of fucking almonds, and they're just like thirsty bastards just sucking all the water out of the ground and all of these reservoirs. And the reservoir
Well,
is like
they're
half.
having these droughts as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did they have a drought when you were there?
They are always having droughts.
Yeah, it's like all the
everybody.
time over there, right?
Oh, it's crazy.
Every time we've been to LA, they're always in the middle of a drought.
Always a
There's
drought.
always some sort of fire. I love how you had to divert around the massive wildfire
Yeah.
and then into the drought. It's like,
Yeah.
it's such a
And we
fucking
could see
American,
the fire.
and that's just normal. That's just accepted as
it,
normal
yeah.
now.
They have
Yeah.
a fire, like the weather guy pops up, he tells you. That's another thing they're obsessed with is the weather. I thought British people were obsessed with the weather, but we are obsessed with talking about our very bland weather.
Yeah.
They are obsessed with living in fear of their genuinely terrifying wrath of God weather that could come out at any moment, anywhere. So they were like, possible hurricane warning, blah, blah, blah. Like earthquakes, tornadoes, droughts, wildfires. More after this. And then there's an advert from Urga covered in cheese.
I can't handle any more of this. It's too much.
It's unbelievable. So it was like, we could, as we're driving in south towards Sequoia, we can see Yosemite on fire. There's this huge pall of smoke hanging across the horizon. And people are like, oh yeah, they closed a couple of gates. I heard they lost about 10,000 square countries worth of fucking trees. And when we came into Sequoia, we're going past all these giant, like, dead trees that are just like black matchsticks sticking out of the ground for miles. And that was like last year's burn or something that this part of Sequoia had burned. It was terrifying. Luckily, we didn't see any burned down like big Sequoia trees. These were all like pines and things like that. But they're really worried about the fact that if they have a big fire, they're going to lose like the General Sherman tree or whatever it's called, which is like this unbelievable living thing to see. It's like seeing a whale. It's such a big fucking tree. It's ridiculous. By volume, it's the biggest tree in the world. Like, it's not the tallest, but it's so thick. It's dummy thick, this tree.
Right.
And they're just amazing. The sequoias themselves are absolutely amazing. General Sherman, yeah.
Wow, it is the largest currently living tree. Holy crap!
It's unbelievable. It's until you've stood at the base of it, you can't really appreciate how large it is. It's insane. And it doesn't have a huge canopy. It's like a huge thick body with these little arms. It's like a T-Rex of trees, little arms of trees and branches sticking out of the top. But they suck up water. But the mountain up there was beautiful. It was 9,000 feet up. And our ears were popping the whole time we were driving up there. The air was so thin, I was knackered going up like half a flight of stairs. I was like, fuck it hell. Like, we had to keep stopping. It was really, really awful. But it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. All right, so here's the next one. My eldest said that San Francisco is like the crustiest parts of London, but all in one place. That's her summary of San Francisco, which is very unfair. But they saw like crustiest. So that's her favorite thing, is to describe something as musty crusty.
Musty crusty.
Bit musty crusty round here, isn't it? That's what she says.
Oh.
I don't know where she got it from, but
Is that
like
just
we
being
saw
not very nice?
Well, yeah, we saw one homeless person and the kids shat themselves. They were like, oh, it's so. I was like, love, wait till we get to Venice
I guess
Beach.
they didn't go anywhere near the middle of fucking San Francisco then.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, we saw there's a decent number of homeless people in the bits of San Francisco we were in, but we didn't go to. I can't remember what the area is. I'm sure someone will know. But it's like really bad. Like there are parts of the Tenderloin all around there. There are parts of San Francisco that were just like obliterated by COVID. Just everything was like boarded up and shut down. And the hotel owner said to us, it was really bad a couple of years ago. Like San Francisco was like fucking terrible, and it's recovering now. When we were there, it looked like a really prosperous city, and it was stunningly beautiful. We went to Golden Gate Bridge Park, which was absolutely gorgeous.
Really nice there. Yeah.
And I thought San Francisco was really
there's
something.
a lot of really nice, really fancy. It's a really expensive place to live, obviously, as well.
No doubt.
But there are definitely real shitty areas.
I can't possibly imagine otherwise, because we saw some elements that my kids were not impressed by, the musty crusty stuff.
Yeah.
So what else have we got? Oh yeah, bear attacks. Youngest very concerned. That's a note I've made here. When we got to Sequoia, as we're going in, we're reading about it, and there were all these warnings about what to do if you're attacked by a bear and all the rest of it. My daughter was like, bears! And I made Mrs. F promise that we would attempt to do all the right things, and if this bear was still coming at us, I would run at the bear and attempt to distract it.
Oh my fucking
while she
God.
legged it with the kids.
You had this conversation.
We had this conversation. Of course, we didn't even see a bear. But I was like, just in case, you never know. I want the plan to be, I don't want to be dying to a bear attack and then Mrs. F and the kids are just standing there screaming. I want them to be running away so that at least my death is worth something.
I love this. Okay, so you're like, listen, I'm not going to sacrifice myself if you're just going to stand there and watch, right? You're going to be running,
right?
Okay.
Yes, because otherwise I'll lose my nerve. Like I'll charge in there and they're still there. I'll be like, oh fuck! Now I've got to worry about the kids, and that takes away one of my flanks. You know what I mean? The bear might exploit that weakness. I've got to be all in. Come on! I'll rip my shirt off, grab a stick, and we'll do like proper man versus bear. I'm gonna die, but
fuck you up so fast.
Oh, of course. But it's not gonna stop attacking me, because I'll grab onto it. I'll be biting it. Whatever I can do, at least they can get away. That's my feeling. Hold on. So who is knocking at my door during Triforce? Me. This better be good. I'm in the middle of recording Triforce.
He's back.
This had better be really, really good.
It was not. It was not. She just wanted to say good morning. All right.
Good morning.
All right. So what have I got? That post-bear attack. I've got driving in America. Very aggressive. Lots of accidents. And overall no chill. 1 million huge trucks. That is a good summary. Of what it's like. I drove about 1,250 miles in the 2 weeks we were there.
That's
a
quite a lot.
shitload of driving. And let me tell you, Americans, you cannot drive. You cannot fucking drive. I've driven in Florida and it was bad. I've driven in all over California and it was fucking awful. Maybe in the other states it's okay. I'm sure some American people say, oh, well, you should drive in Texas, mate. We're all really good at driving. They cannot fucking drive in California. The roads suck. The markings on the roads suck. The quality of the roads is abysmal, and they all drive like it's fucking Dodgems. Everybody's just signaling and turning, not signaling and turning, weaving around, overtaking, undertaking. They're all either driving way too fast or way too slow, and you're constantly surrounded by these enormous trucks that take up the entire lane. So when you are trying to overtake them, you're like practically, it's like fucking chariot dueling these things, trying to get past them. And it was mad. Like, my stress levels were off the chart. Anytime a turning comes up, sometimes your lane just starts going off to another motorway, and there's bare warning, so you just got to be weaving about, and everybody else is doing the same thing.
Bear warning?
Yeah. Not a bear warning. It was scary. It was really fucking scary.
Just coming out of the turnpike.
Don't turn down the I-5 unless you want to go west. It was like that. So that was pretty. Driving there was the worst part, and
Well,
parking
they don't turn
as well.
very
Oh my
much. You know, most of the time you just drive straight. You do one. You only have to, most Americans only have to navigate one turn per day.
That's true. One turn a day. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I've also made a note
many.
here. Fresno murderously hot. 42 degrees and nobody seems to notice. That is true. Nobody really seemed to notice. There were people working in like huge thick work trousers, big work boots, t-shirt, jacket, high-vis jacket on top, and their hat and gloves. And they're just working away by the side of the road. It's like, and we're like, I could go like 10 feet without having to stop and have a drink of water. It was so hot. They must just all be used to it. But it was unfucking real how little they seemed to care about the fact that they were boiling alive. Or maybe they're just used to it. Most of them seem to be like Latinos, so maybe it's much hotter in Mexico. They're just used to it.
Yeah, maybe they're just more adapted to it. Like they've just done it their whole lives. Whereas,
like they're like, oh, it's quite cool today. It's only 41. But yeah, maybe it's like that.
Whereas our bodies are so used to being freezing fucking cold all the time.
Yeah, right.
That, you know, our default stance is
Man,
warm up,
it got up to 37 here the other week, and everybody was just losing their fucking minds. Like, it was unbelievable. It's just too hot.
My mum was here. She's up in London. I think it was 41 in London, and she said that she was just lying on the floor next to the fan, and the cat and dog were lying next to her also in the fan, and they all just lay there for like hours.
Well, yeah,
because it was too hot to do anything. Yeah,
it was terrible actually. So I had this. I came back from TwitchCon, which was great, by the way.
Yeah, I really got to
I really liked it. Yeah,
really fun, really fun
I
time.
loved it.
And I'd caught like a stomach bug or something, you know, and so I didn't realize this. So I came back and it was that hottest day when it was like 38 degrees in Bristol, and I hadn't slept because our flight was really early, so I'd had to we'd been up drinking on the last night, you know, and then I had about 3 hours sleep, not really, and then, you know, got to the airport, flew back, had a load of stress to deal with when I got back, just personal stuff, and then was really sick, and I didn't really realize I was sick. I just thought I was hot, but I was feverish, really, really feverish, really sweaty, and but I just thought, man, this is not a problem, because I'd been to Corfu like a couple of weeks earlier, and that was just as hot. So I was like, I can handle this. This is not, I don't know why I'm so hot and fucked up.
COVID?
And no, it was just like I just had like a viral stomach bug, I think.
Oh,
so
man.
I started pooping. And so it was in the middle of the night. I was exhausted. I was like super stressed out. I was boiling hot. I was like feverish. And I was just
pooping.
in this really horrible like zombie mode where like, I didn't want to disturb my partner because, you know, we'd had like an argument, and so, do you know what I mean? It was just like everything was just a disaster that day. And I remember I was like just feeling absolutely shitty. So I was downstairs like trying to sleep on the sofa, but it was just too hot, and I was like, every time I would like doze off, I would like snap wide awake again.
Oh man.
And it was really, really weird. And what I should have done really
in the heat is horrible, because the toilet seat gets all sweaty as well.
Man.
It was just the roughest night I've had. So that was the hot, and it wouldn't have been so bad if it wasn't that confluence of all of those conditions.
That's
right?
Terrible.
That's the worst part.
Any one of them I would have been fine with, but
the worst thing about pooping when it's hot out is you got to close the bathroom door when you poop, so the bathroom gets really hot as well.
And smells.
I wasn't doing that.
So you're on the brink of sweating just sitting there, but then when you when you got to move around, like to start wiping or whatever, all of a sudden it's just like, holy shit, like I'm just breaking a massive sweat here and I'm not even really doing anything because it's so goddamn hot in this room.
Yeah,
God,
it was hell. So yeah, but TwitchCon was really cool. Amsterdam, really cool place. It's kind of this. I don't know if you've been
Several
before.
times.
I'd never been before, but it's a great place to host a convention like that, right? Because there's tons and tons of cool canals and bars all along everywhere, and so even with a group of like 5 or 15 or 25 people, you can always
and you can
find
smoke the
somewhere.
leaf. Oh yeah, baby! I'm
Everyone's
so high.
really
Look
chill.
At me. I'm smoking weed. I'm amazing. Fuck off.
I wasn't impressed by the red light district. It wasn't what I
I was.
expected.
No, people often aren't impressed by it, which baffles me because it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's
The
fucking
women are
awesome.
right there in the window and they're beckoning to you. And I was like, wow, I've never felt so desired in all my life. This is ridiculous.
It is very strange. But
I mean, obviously, they're only doing it for money. But in my primitive brain, I was like, oh, that girl likes me.
But I thought the idea in my head, the red light district would be kind of slightly crustier and
Crusty musty, would you
crusty
say?
mustier.
Yeah.
But actually, it's like a really nice area. It's got like a really
Yeah,
beautiful
no,
Yeah,
church in
the
it.
area is
It's
incredible. It's really
There's flowers everywhere.
nice
It's
to
like
walk
gorgeous
around
place.
in. In the day, it's a nice area to walk around
In the
into.
day, you wouldn't even know
Yeah.
you were in it.
No, of course,
right?
yeah.
And then in the night time, at like 11 p.m. Obviously, this is when we walked around. First of all, there were a million tourists there. Like it was like wall to like crowd
Yeah,
full.
of course.
Like every
You
tourist.
feel like
was
you're at a
let's go and-
festival or something.
let's
Like
go and ogle at the red light
It's a nice
district.
atmosphere too, right? People are like generally like pretty high spirits. Like anytime
Yeah.
I've ever been, it's always been pretty fun because you just bump into people that you just talk to randomly or whatever and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's that kind
We
of
did
place,
a lot of that.
right?
It's very social. It's
Yeah.
very like anyway, but it was like walls like crammed full of people. It's like being in a queue almost of like being in a tour group or something. Because there's tour
If
groups
you were in
there.
a
And there's
queue,
like
you got to wonder
Yeah.
what you were queuing for, Lewis.
I know, but they sort of stake around this area past all the windows, and there's not even that many windows. They're fairly like spread out, and there's obviously the sex clubs. There's some sex shops as well.
Yeah, they
and
look
obviously
awful.
Duncan said to me, I was like, Duncan, why are people doing this? And he was like, well, because you can literally just open any of those doors with women in and fuck them.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
And I was like, right. And he was,
And
he
you,
was like,
you get to look at, like, for a start,
was
because
like-
it's like managed and they're professionals and they're not just on the street or whatever. They all look really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the prostitutes, you're like, holy shit! Like this girl is like really good looking,
Yeah.
and she doesn't have like all track marks all over and look like she's sleeping rough. She's like
She's
a
got all her
really
teeth and
high-end.
stuff.
Yeah, she's like a really good looking girl, and she's right there in a window, and she's like making eyes at you. It's like, oh my god, I could see how people would come here and just lose their minds.
but I mean, I am not someone who's just gonna. I feel
No,
like
I would
first of
never be
all-
able to do it. It would be
Well,
terrifying.
first of all, though, but it's like there's so many tourists there. Like there's literally 100 tourists walking past these doors, right?
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be the one that goes out of the crowd,
Exactly.
opens the door.
Well,
and goes into...
you see some of the people that do, right? Like I'm sure when you were walking by, you saw a couple of people like trying to discreetly exit one of these places, or you see like a huddle of
Maybe there's a
men
back
where
door.
somebody is just about to go in or whatever. Like I guess it's the same as like strip clubs, really. Like if you're
I think it is
trying to get
Yeah,
somebody
I
in the champagne room or whatever, like it's always like
yeah, but
this weird.
everybody's in the strip club when you're at the strip club.
Yeah.
You might just be out walking your dog, and there's some bloke coming out of a room with a girl, and you think,
Sure,
you
yeah.
just knobbed her, I just had sex.
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
I guess like first of all, it wasn't as seedy at all as I was expecting, and it wasn't as kind of adult as I was expecting at all. It was very because everyone's fully clothed outside. There's no like there's no nipples on show anywhere
Right,
or anything
right.
kind of.
God
It's all
forbid.
very, very clean.
I don't want to see that.
There's no.
I don't want to see
know,
nipples. Gross.
There's hardly any. It's all very safe, to the
Yeah.
point of kind of, and obviously yes, you can just have sex with people, and then also you can go down into these or up, I guess, into these clubs and go to like the banana bar or whatever and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like,
a banana
it's-
bar
it-
sounds like there's going to be a lot of penises on show.
Banana
if you're
bar.
calling it banana bar, that's
Banana
got to be
bar.
the dick. That's the dick club.
But well, some of them are a bit like memes, in a sense. But I guess like it's a stag do thing, and it's a kind of laddie thing, and it's a kind of. I get the impression that Amsterdam is like a kind of but made for stag do's or made for those kind of events, right?
I feel
Where-
like red light district in Amsterdam for me was like kind of like the same vibe as Vegas at night. When you're out on the street, like walking in between the casinos and stuff in Vegas, it's a little bit the same like atmosphere wise, right? Like everybody's just like seems to be having
Yes,
like
you're right.
a fun time or whatever.
It feels
like
super safe, right? Because there's
yeah.
cops everywhere
Yeah.
in those areas, right? Because it's like tourist central, right? It's like very
But then
like sanitized.
But then the contrast, like Vegas during the day, you see like lots of families taking pictures of all these big casinos and stuff. Like it changes, but it's still not like it's not like so much of a change where you're like all of a sudden feeling like,
I think it's because it's so famous, though.
Yeah.
Like, when you think of
It's a
Amsterdam,
novelty,
you think
right?
of
People
weed
seek
and you
it
think
out.
of the red light
Yeah.
district, right? And those are the two things that like kind of are so prevalent in the people who run Amsterdam's mind that they've obviously made a lot of effort to, you know, sanitize, like clean it up and make it like a place that doesn't reflect too badly on them, or it doesn't, you know, there's no. It didn't feel like there was any like real crime or like danger. It all felt super like they
Sanitized.
know it's a tourist place, right? I don't know. So it felt a bit, I don't know, like inauthentic in a sense to me, you know, like and also just a bit sparse, I guess. Like a bit. I was expecting it to be more American in a sense, but it's definitely not. It's definitely very European. Like it's kind of spread out across a wider area of little streets and little picturesque canal side, you know, beautiful bars. Very strange, but no, it was great. TwitchCon. TwitchCon was so good in Amsterdam because, you know, sometimes you're just like 4 of you, but sometimes you accidentally there's like 26 of you, you know, and usually it seemed like everywhere we went there were places to see and stuff. So next year it's in Paris, which doesn't feel like it's going to be
that's going to suck.
Paris
as good. No,
Paris,
no
France.
They hate us in France, as in people that don't live in Paris. They hate people that don't live in Paris, and now there's going to be a ton of them.
They're not welcoming.
Do it in Twickenham. Oh my God. Just saying, do it in Twickenham.
TwitchCon 2024 Twickenham. That would be.
Yeah. Oh, you got Twickenham
else.
Stadium.
True.
It's pretty big.
True.
You could do stuff there.
It could do it in Jersey. TwitchCon in Jersey. You got Fort Regent over here.
No, don't get any ideas.
I mean, it was good enough for Hot Chocolate, who came over. Michael Bublé was going to come over at one point.
He's an auto-tuning piece of shit. Don't talk to me about Michael Bublé.
They should just do Amsterdam again. It was so good. It's so good.
Sorry, did I say Bublé? I meant Michael Bolton.
Oh.
Michael Bolton was meant to come over. He didn't come over in the end, but he was meant to.
He's great.
He was like, Jersey? What, New Jersey? That sounds great. No, Jersey.
Robbie Williams has come over here to perform at Fort Regent as well, which is hilarious because Fort Regent has a seating capacity of like maybe 400 people. So it's like, imagine like the smallest show that you've ever been to for like a punk band or whatever, but it's Robbie Williams and like his whole crew and the production and everything.
Fort Regent.
Fort Regent. It's the big dome on top of the hill. Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
you know, the one when you're driving like along the front, you can see it. You can see the big dome, the big white dome.
Yeah. How's Jersey doing?
That's my head. Hello.
How's terrible.
Oh, please. It's doing terrible.
Oh, it's never been worse. God. Just,
what's wrong?
Just a mess. Oh, the gas prices just so high and like.
Oh.
Well, that was something the Americans were complaining about the petrol prices. It was half the cost it is here. Half the cost.
Jesus.
They're like, as soon as the price of the pump comes down, God damn it. And I was like, you know, you lot don't know you're born. It's twice as much in the UK. And they're like, what?
Well, they drive a lot further.
They do drive a lot further, yeah.
They all drive over. LA, there is no way to get around other than driving. Other than the scooters.
And they have these massive fucking mega trucks as well that guzzle twice the petrol.
The thing in America as well is the way that it's laid out. Like, if you live in a neighborhood somewhere, oftentimes you're not going to be working in that neighborhood because there's just not, you know, a neighborhood will have like a couple of convenience stores, maybe a supermarket, gas stations, the usual stuff that you need to commute away from where you live to go work in an office somewhere downtown or whatever. But in Europe, it's a bit different, right? There's a good chance that even if you live in a big city or town, you will live close enough to where you work, sort of thing, right? Where
True.
It's not, you're not in a car for like, you know, 2-3 hours a day or whatever.
That's true.
And
that was one thing I did actually that may have been a bad idea. We went out for dinner, had a few drinks, and I said it was long enough back along Venice Beach, which is a shithole, that we could have walked. But I said, look, let's get a Lime scooter, one of those little scooters you can get, and I'll give the kids lifts back to the flat, and then I'll come back and get Mrs. F. And Mrs. F was like dead against it. The kids were like, yes, let's do this. So I got one, and like gave them each a lift back, went back and got one kid, dropped them off. The problem with the Lime scooters is if you don't have mobile phone reception, you can't park the bloody thing. So you end up walking for miles with this thing that's running out of battery, trying to find somewhere to park it, because you can only park it in certain areas. It was unbelievable. The mobile phone reception that I got across California was absolutely shocking. It was shocking. I didn't get a signal, I would say 70% of the time. I didn't get any kind of signal. Because Vodafone goes to T-Mobile. I know you've got to go.
I'm sorry.
Vodafone goes to T-Mobile. It sucks.
I'm sorry, really sorry. We'll have to do part 2 of this because there's so much to say, and we've had to suddenly cut the podcast short because I've got to go and do this tiny team stream. But yes, thank you, everyone. We'll pick this up. You guys around tomorrow? Can we pick this up tomorrow?
We can pick it up tomorrow.
And we'll make this. We'll just do the rest of it tomorrow.
We'll do a part 2.
This is part 1.
Pause it here.
All right.
See you for part 2.
Today's episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. If you go online without ExpressVPN, it's like using your brand new smartphone without a protective case. Yeah, you'll probably smartphone. Yep. Most of the time you'll probably be fine, but all it takes is one little bit of damage, and you wish you had felt like you had protected yourself. Wow, I delivered that really well.
It's like when you accidentally flick your screen and then the whole thing cracks. You know, like you ever done that before?
Yeah. Get a screen protector and a
This
phone
happened to
protector
Joe Hickson at TwitchCon. He bought this brand new phone, didn't have a case yet, and just smashed it and felt absolutely
The online
crushed.
equivalent to that, of course, would be VPN.
Yes.
Yeah, so I used ExpressVPN when I was away in Amsterdam. Every time I was connecting to like a Wi-Fi in like a hotel or a cafe or in the airport, because I know that these places are not secured at all.
Yeah.
Any hacker on that network can hack into your stuff.
Wait, I've got something. Don't be Joe Hickson. Be someone who clicks on the link to ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN.
That's right.
/Triforce?
Correct. ExpressVPN.com/Triforce. ExpressVPN.com/Triforce, and you can get extra 3 months free. So yes, check that out. Thank you for the sponsorship, and on with the show. Today's episode of Triforce is also sponsored by Honey. The easy way to save money when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Throw away your coupon book, old lady Flax. You don't need to do it.
But I need my young man. I need my coupon.
You don't need to manually Google for coupon codes.
Is it compatible with my browser, young man?
It is. You can use it on Safari on your iPhone. Well, you're a frugal old lady. You love to save money.
How dare you? Oh, did you say frugal? Yes, yeah, I am.
Well, why not install Honey? Because you could straight up be missing out. I use it.
Why not? Indeed.
It pops up a surprising amount. If you don't already have Honey, you should just install it, and you can actually use our link, which is joinhoney.com/Triforce. Joinhoney.com/Triforce, and save money on anything you buy online. Board games,
save money
headphones.
with Honey. You had it. It was set up for you right there.
Save money with Honey.
Well, thank you. So yeah, joinhoney.com/Triforce. Get Honey for free. It's free. So check it out. Thank you. That is our sponsor for this episode. So yeah, on with the show.
On with the show.
Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. We're doing part 2. This is
part 2.
This will be the same one as yesterday.
Yeah, so kind of part 2 where it just fades out and you expect to think it's the end of the movie, and then there's a whole nother fucking chunk. And it's going to be just as disappointing as the first part of the movie.
It's going to be disjointed because yesterday we forgot everything we talked about in the first half of the podcast yesterday.
Well, no,
this is going to be extra
America.
long.
It was America.
Flax talked about America, but I think Flax is pretty jet lagged too, right? So he'll probably forget some of what he was talking about too.
Probably, yeah.
So
you know what I did watch? Here's something I do want to talk about. I watched The Batman.
The Batman.
Yeah, which I thought was a funny title.
It's gotten to the point now where there's been so many Batmans, and they've had so many names for movies of Batmans that they've just had to resort to The Batman.
The Batman. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was actually pretty good. I did.
It was okay.
Did think it was jolly long, because it was like 3 hours long.
I guess we've come.
Definitely could have tightened it up a wee bit, but it was
the
like
titling.
the titling is like, what are we going to do? What can we call it?
Well, I think they already did that. There was already the age of people rebooting stuff and just calling it the one-word thing. So there was already probably a movie called Batman.
There was
right, recently.
Yeah.
And now they're like, damn, we've used that. What do we have?
So in France, it's going to be Le Batman.
Le Homme de Bat.
Le Batman. Or in Spain, it'll be El Batmano.
Indeed.
El Batman.
That's how they say it, yeah. Well, I liked it because he was like he was a Batman for our times, you know, recession Batman. Like he doesn't have all the fancy gadgets that the other Batman had. His car is just like a souped up car. His motorcycle is just like a motorcycle.
Le Batmobile.
And he gets his ass kicked quite a bit. Like he's just like a lad trying to do his best rather than some like he doesn't flaunt the whole billionaire thing. They don't really. And he's got fucking Andy Serkis as his butler, for Christ's sake. I mean, you'd think you could afford someone better than Andy bloody Serkis, but no. So I liked it.
El Hombre Murcielago.
El Hombre de El Nito.
Wait, so is Murcielago Bat?
Yes, it is, yeah.
But that means the Batmobile is a Murcielago mobile. That doesn't work at all.
It's a mouthful for sure.
It would be whatever mobile would be.
Yeah, Murcielago
Automobile. Maybe the automobile is shorter. Yeah,
what a
maybe
mouthful.
it's like...
Yeah, it is a mouthful.
They wouldn't say, look out, it's the Batman. Look out, it's the Murcielago man. Hombre de Murcielago.
I like that, though. I like those long...
On the topic of franchises where finally something good comes out of them, I'm thinking of The Mandalorian. The reason I'm thinking of The Mandalorian is because I'm thinking of Jon Favreau. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm thinking of Jon Favreau is because I watched a couple of episodes of Seinfeld yesterday, and the first episode I watched was The Fire. I don't know if you remember The Fire, but it's the one where George goes to a kid's party with a clown, and he's obsessed with Bozo the Clown.
Right.
And he's trying to explain to the clown at the party who Bozo the Clown was. And the clown turns around and he's like, "You're living in the past, man. You're talking about a clown from the 60s. And the guy who says that to him is Jon Favreau. He is the clown, yeah. So he's a younger Jon Favreau. And then, of course, George notices a fire, starts screaming fire, and then pushes all the women and children aside so that he can get out first. You remember that one?
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. And then I also want to mention that I watched the episode The Hamptons, which is the one with shrinkage, if you remember that one. Where George gets caught with shrinkage. Yeah.
And they say to Elaine, you know about shrinkage, right? You know, when it gets cold, she's like, it shrinks?
Yeah.
And then she says, I don't know how you guys walk around with those things.
Yeah. So in that same episode, George's girlfriend of the time goes onto the beach topless, but he hasn't had sex with her yet. But Kramer, Jerry, and Elaine all see her topless.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember the scene where they're all looking at her on the beach topless. And Kramer says, like, wowza, or something like that. And Jerry turns around and says, Boutros Ghali. You remember? You remember that from the Fast Show? Boutros Ghali.
Chris Waddle. Yeah,
Scotcho. Boutros Ghali.
Well, this is one of those things, again, it leads into the idea that foreign TV and culture is different. Like, certainly, I mean, Batman, I suppose, is pretty universal, but there's certain things that caught on in certain countries and are still very famous there for kind of no reason, almost. Like, these things that everyone else has forgotten about. You know, it'll be like a cartoon series or like a TV show, and everyone in that country is obsessed with it. And so there's always work for the stars of that forgotten TV show, right? Because they can go to Romania where it is still, you know, everyone knows it, and it's like a part of the cultural, you know, and they're almost confused that we aren't huge fans of it in a sense, right? Because we made it or whatever, you know, like the Fast Show or whatever. It's like, you don't remember this? Like, this is famous in our country. I love that stuff so much.
I think I am 100% sure we've mentioned this before, But for any Germans watching, the thing that they always talk about is this British sketch about a very old butler serving a very fancy old lady drinks at New Year's.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, which is like it's like they play it every single, it's either Christmas or New Year's in Germany.
Yeah,
I think
it's always New Year's, yeah.
And they play this on TV and everybody gets around. It's like a big family thing and they all know every bit of it. It's like, it's only 10 minutes long. Like, I've met multiple Germans, young and old, who will say to me, yes, you must, you're British, you must enjoy the sketch. And I can't remember what it's called, but
Dinner
they
for
always
one?
get one of them. Dinner for one.
Dinner for one. Yeah, that's the one.
It is the best. Of course, it is British. It must be very famous in your
with the
country.
music hall hero Freddie Frinton.
Yep, never heard of him. Yeah, with Freddie Frinton, the legend Freddie Frinton. You must, of course, know this. It's very popular in Germany. I'm sure it is very hugely popular, and also in your country as well. No,
no, we've
Fritz.
never heard
We've
of
never
it.
seen it.
We don't watch those.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, P-Flex. This exact type of thing it gets me every time because it's almost so obvious they don't think to mention it as well. Like it's just in the back of their mind. They're shocked when they find out that you've never heard of this thing. I've actually been to Frinton. It's a little place on the coast in Essex. It's a little seaside town where all the old people used to retire there. You know, Frinton on Sea. It's like one of these little cute little places. Yeah,
that's that'll be Florida if you're American, or Vancouver Island if you're Canadian.
That's right.
These are all the popular retirement spots.
That is it's definitely one of those, you know, where everyone used to retire to the coast. Where do retire people retire? Oh, Spain, I guess that's where they retire to now, isn't it?
Listen, one more mention of Seinfeld because while Flax was away, I mentioned it on WhatsApp. But if you ever get a chance to watch the episode where Jerry, George, and Elaine all help the elderly. Yes. Jerry gets this grumpy old man.
Yeah.
George, I don't know if George and Kramer do one actually, but
George is the guy who gets the really grumpy guy who says, "They're stealing my records."
No, that's Jerry. Jerry gets that guy.
No, George does, because then is it Jerry that gets him, and then but it's the assistant for that old guy that they steal the records from, right?
No, yeah, George gets the assistants to lube up his bald head.
yeah.
And so he could rub his head all over her body or something like that.
Wait, the old lady that Elaine gets sounds like my coupon lady almost, doesn't she?
Yeah, the goiter lady.
It's got this enormous goiter on my neck.
Exactly. Like it's exactly the same. Yeah. It's so fucking funny, so man. I was howling when it came on. What's wrong, dear? Is it this big goiter?
Is it my goiter? Oh, why? I'd hardly noticed it. That was but when she talks about, she's like, "Who is this a picture of you with?" Mahatma. Oh, the passion. Like she had a love affair with Mahatma Gandhi. So good.
That's a good one. But yeah, it sounds exactly like Pyrion's coupon lady, which is
I probably got it from there in all honesty. It's one of those things that just sunk in.
That's a good one. Listen, I was playing because we were running a little bit late this morning and I knew we were late. Well, I was playing some SNES classics on the Switch with my son. And we were playing Pilot Wings. I don't know if you remember Pilot Wings, but man, what a game. It's so much fun. And it all came.
What was the graphics thing? What was the graphics thing for Pilot Wings that they had introduced? It was like unique. There was a chip that they had.
Yes, it was the same they used for F-Zero. It was like this way of presenting frames very quickly, so that it gave you the sense that you were like in some form of like 3D or whatever.
Was it the Super FX chip?
Yeah, something like that.
Super FX. Yeah, I think it was.
I think that sounds right.
So I was like, here, give this a try. It's really fun. I used to play this when I was a kid or whatever. And he's like, he tried to do the skydiving. He tried to land the biplane and everything, and he just couldn't do it. And he was like, oh, well, you know, it seemed fun, but he couldn't do it. He's like, here, you have a go. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I remember how to play this. Sure enough, fucking aced it. Like I don't even know how I remembered, but man, I was just on it. Like I was hitting all the rings. I was getting the perfect landings. I did the skydiving land onto the moving platform and everything. He was like blown away. And it's like, so I passed him the controller. And he's like, "Why are you passing me this?" I was like, "I gotta go. I got stuff to do." He's like, "What?" He's like, "You thought we were gonna play Pilot Wings all day?" Oh shit, sorry. So now I gotta play Pilot Wings later with him as well. I had. He
probably thinks you're like some sort of secret Pilot Wings champion, and you've been like holding it back this whole time.
He's been playing a lot of Fall Guys recently. Like so much so, actually, he's finished the entire season pass, the current
wow.
season pass. He's unlocked all the skins and everything, and he's really, really quite proud of himself, sort of thing. So I'm trying to teach him now to not spend all of his show bucks, but to save them for the next season pass. Right? Because like he's like, oh, I want to get this skin. I was like, don't spend it on one skin. Get it on the season pass. You'll get way more skins. And he's like, oh, but we'll see. I don't know if he'll be able to hold out. You know, the excitement. He was like kicking his legs in bed before going to sleep yesterday. He was like so excited that he unlocked like the.
Was he like pretending he was running in Fall Guys? Like
yeah, it was kind of like that. Yeah, but like, you know, when you just get so excited, you just don't know what to fucking do with yourself. Like, it's insane.
I miss that.
I do too.
I miss being that excited about
I do
anything.
too. Yeah, it's that's the beauty of having kids, is that you get to relive the excitement of being a kid through your kids sometimes. I'm not going to say all the time, because when you're up to your neck in diarrhea and stuff, it doesn't.
You also relive
great,
that stuff. Yeah,
you do.
that you've blocked out.
Exactly. But no, for the fun stuff, it's great. Yeah, it's really good.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Pilot Wings.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Recommend it for sure.
Oh, that's what I remember now. The scooters. I was talking about Lime scooters, wasn't I?
Oh yeah, you ferried
scooters.
both of your kids and then your wife back to your accommodation using a scooter, you were saying.
That's right. Well,
That's
she
the
didn't
last thing
get
you
on it
said.
wisely because it started to run out of batteries.
Oh.
I don't. So, and then when it comes to parking it, that's right. If you don't have any signal, it's almost you can't end the ride, because you need to have a signal to say end ride, and the bike needs to be in a specific place, a parking spot. That's what they demanded.
That's right.
So you have to put it in this parking spot. So if you can't get the signal, the clock's just fucking running. And the cost is going up and up and up. And you're like, fucking, I've got to running around trying to find A, a place where it will accept as a parking spot, and B, phone reception in America, which is apparently impossible. Because if you're with Vodafone, it defaults to T-Mobile and their dog shit.
Originally, there was a Wild West on these things. And you could just grab them anywhere, park them anywhere. They were just lying around. But then City started like clamping down on them.
Which is fair enough, because you used to get them in the most fucking ridiculous places.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them ended up being thrown in canals and such, you know, and stuff like this. So that now they've got these designated parking spots for them, which makes it more difficult. And also, like, I don't know, they've started going bust. One of them I noticed called Bolt Mobility, which is not the same one as Bolt, the European transport thing. That's a different thing. But they have like these bikes, and I think maybe e-scooters as well, but like 8 cities apparently, Portland, Oregon, Burlington, etc. Like they've just been abandoned now. Like it's gone bust. The bikes are just still there, but no one's picking them up. They're not working. It's just like, it's starting to happen, because the margins are like razor thin on these things. They're kind of speculative, right? It's one of these tech startups.
Stupid.
They're leaving them on the street.
I mean, I don't think these companies ever began with an intention of making money. Like a lot of these tech startups, the plan is you start this up, you run it for a year or two,
you get loads of investors.
And you get
loads of investors,
You
and then
make
pay
loads of money
loads.
personally, and then you just go, oh, well, fucking pack it up. And then you can go around and say, oh, I was a part of the tech startup Bolt. We made this much, and we did this many rollouts. They're like, oh, you sound like you know what you're doing. Come up with an idea that makes some fucking money. How about that? Like, seriously.
Yeah, come up with an idea to make some fucking money and then tell me about it so I can make some fucking money instead of you.
Yeah.
I'll do a better job of it too.
These investors, honestly, I think half of them are they're literally rolling the dice. This might be big. They don't fucking know. Because you can't really predict what's going to blow up and what's going to not.
Well, they don't even care. They're not even rolling the dice. They're convincing other people to roll the dice. Do you know what I mean? They're convincing investors to come on board.
But what I'm saying is those investors can't be that stupid if they've got shitloads of money. So they must make some good investments. But I think a lot of the time they just think, well, look, if we invest in 100 things this year and 3 of them explode and make us a shitload of money, job done. And if we have to write off a few billion along the way, then so be it. But this money is just getting, like, dumped into this dumb shit. I mean, fair play. The money's making its way somewhere. But it's just fucking idiots, honestly. I doubt very much that these investors sat down and look at all of these bike startup companies and say, this is the one. Because how can it be? There's like a dozen of them. And you need the app for each one. So you have to go along. It's like, well, there's no limes around here. Well, there's this fucking, whatever it's called, the booth bikes. Right? We could get a booth bike. And Booth's got her startup company, Booth Bikes, and you can scan the thing and then you can add the thing and blah, blah. You got to pull your payment details in or confirmation bollocks, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes of faffing about. Now you can ride their bike. There is no central app, is there? Where I can just say, just get me on this fucking bike and I'll worry about it later. That's what you want. Rather than have to have every individual bloody app. That's why they're going to fail, because there's no central coherency to it. If I go to get on a bus, I don't care who's running the bus company. I don't need a different credit card to get on the fucking bus. I get on the fucking bus. These bikes, you can have a different app. Fuck that.
Well, the problem is, it's like you can't roll it out across the whole country at once, right? So you have to roll it out across one city.
Right.
And then while that's happening, someone else, a rival company's like, oh, well, if we make it in another city, they'll have to buy us out, you know?
Right.
So that just leads to this mad rush of kind of idiots like diving on the bandwagon.
Oh, it's maddening. Think of the waste. All those lithium batteries gone, just clogging up the streets, all the materials in these fucking bikes. And I've ridden one, and I'm sure I looked a cunt when I was on it. I had fun doing it. But you see people ride them all the fucking time, and I always
Did you have a helmet on?
No, I didn't.
See, this is the other thing. Like,
Yeah.
It just feels like, what are you doing? Do you have to bring? I think sometimes you have to bring your own helmets now to ride these bikes, and that kind of defeats the whole point. But also, just like talking about Amsterdam and bikes, like that city was so bike friendly that it was crazy. But in a sense, also they were so used to bikes, and so many of them were on bikes that it was basically like having a second road on next to every road. So you had to cross the road, and then you had to cross the bike road, right? Because there were just as many arseholes zooming along on those things. Do you know what I mean? It was cool, but that's built for it, right? And so, sure, like it's still, I looked up the stats, I think it was something, it was still 3 times more likely to, be killed on a bike than in a car kind of thing in Amsterdam, where it's very safe for bicyclists. And they have all this
there's a
dedicated
lot of biking
infrastructure.
over there.
But it's still much more dangerous.
That's 3 times as likely, not 3 times as many as like other countries, right? Because obviously the more bikes you have, the more accidents you're going to have.
I think a lot of people, they do have a lot of bike deaths, but even so, proportional to the amount of people on bikes, actually, I think it's pretty low. But I mean, that infrastructure obviously does favour the scooters and these things, Whereas it doesn't feel like British cities are made for it, Especially, in Bristol, sure, there's quite a few cycle lanes now, but if I got an e-scooter one time, and I was like on the road like 80% of the time, it felt like, and just driving through the centre, and I just did not feel safe at all.
No. I know there was a lad I think he either died or he got very, very bad head injury. He was going along near me, near in Twickenham, and came. Is
he on life support? Because there's some beeping in the background.
That's some fucking Amazon truck backing up.
If you got your
That's so loud. Holy crap!
Hold on, I'll pull the plug on that. There we go. He's gone.
Oh no! Don't do that.
He's all right.
Oh,
Either way,
God.
he. Gosh, that sounded really dark. Because
didn't.
Sorry. I am genuinely sympathetic. It's awful. But he was going along on one of these electric scooters. I think he came off it and got hit by a car. So the air ambulance had to land on Twickenham Green and airlift the guy away. Unfortunately, so they are very dangerous.
The air ambulance. You're in the middle of fucking central London. How is that? Why couldn't a normal ambulance come? Surely it would take longer for a fucking helicopter to come.
Well,
what?
It's the air ambulance.
You're not in the fucking Brecon Beacons. You're not in like the Scottish Highlands.
They have to take him to a special brain hospital.
You're in Twickenham.
Yeah.
It's like fucking. It's like a.
There's traffic here.
Massive urbanized area.
There's traffic here, I guess.
Twickers, mate.
Yes.
And they want to take him to like a super hospital. So they pop him in the helicopter and zoom him off.
Was he a billionaire? Is that why?
Yeah, he invented Lime scooters, actually. The irony. It's like the Segway guy who died on a Segway.
Oh, fuck. And maybe that's how we get rid of them,
Get them to ride them around.
And get them to use their own stuff.
It was funny, actually, when we were in San Francisco, we saw people on a Segway tour. And
really?
I don't know. Yeah. And I thought, first of all, I'm amazed that Segways are still going. Yeah, there are some police that fucking use Segways. What a shit-looking vehicle. Like, honestly, you look a twat on a Segway. I don't care what you're wearing or who you are. You could be the coolest person ever. If you're on a Segway, it's like the bum bag of transport. You just look a twat.
It really is. It really looks awful, doesn't it? I'm not even sure they're allowed in the UK. I think they're illegal, right?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I
You
think
don't see
so.
'em here.
I don't think you can just like go around on them.
They're definitely not allowed on footpaths, but then again, neither are bikes, and no one really listens to that.
So apparently, in June 2020, Ninebot, the owner of the Segway brand, announced it would no longer make the Segway. Only 140,000 units were sold during the lifetime of the product. God, is that true? And in the later years, the Segway PT only made up 1.5% of total company profit. Factors contributing to the end of production include the price, $5,000, and the steep learning curve led to notable accidents involving Usain Bolt, George Bush, and the Segway company owner Jimmy Heselden, who died, I think. Yeah,
and Christopher Trotness, didn't he?
Did he really? Did he have a bad one as well?
Do you remember there's that he was on, they were off to old films was doing them in America, I think, on the coast in LA. They were cycling, segwaying down one of the cycle paths, and Trot just went straight off. It really hurt his arm, I think.
Yeah, I bet.
Damn.
Well, Jimmy Heselden, the guy who invented it, Jimmy Heselden, OBE, was killed when he fell from a cliff towpath into the River Wharfe at the village of Thorpe Arch. Along the path, a rugged country version of a Segway was found, and the coroner concluded he died of multiple blunt force injuries of the chest and spine, consistent with a fall whilst riding a gyro bike. I mean, I had no idea that they were so common an accident that you could list injuries consistent with that thing. I'm watching this now. Let's see. Chris Trott Segway fall fail.
It's real bad.
Wait, so he fell.
Himself.
So they did a video of him falling, but he actually really hurt himself.
Yeah, he real hurt. Well, they were filming him at the time.
Well, he's twatting about on this thing as well. I don't know what he's thinking. Oh, you can see. Yeah, that's a wrist injury.
What was he? So what was he doing? Was he just really going for it, like getting carried away?
Watch the vid. That's just been linked in Discord. Everyone, just Google. Well, go to YouTube and go Chris Trott Segway fall fail. Now you tell me he's not asking for trouble here. Look at, I think that's Smithy in front. No, that's Ross. That might be Smith. Look at this. What is this gyration of the groin that he's doing whilst riding this like a fool? The Segway was not made for this.
Well, he doesn't even gyrate it that much, but obviously he was
I don't know, that second one, he's right over to the side, just beans it. Beans it all over the floor. And then he cuts his hand up. That is
bad. It's real bad.
His knee.
He was really mucking around on that thing, eh?
He was. That's what I'm saying. Segway did nothing wrong there. That's all on Trot.
The fall is obviously so quick. The fall and so sideways that it really.
Yeah. That's the scary thing is that it's literally like he's not even leaning over that much. And the whole thing just fucking chucks him off.
Oh, man.
And he properly smacks his head on the floor as well. Like, good to get a helmet on.
Cutting up your wrist like that's gotta hurt, eh? Like, if
you're gonna hurt.
To do gaming and whatever, like while it's healing, or even jacking off would be kind of painful too. God, I would hate that. I gotta be careful. That's a good, nice, fresh reminder not to use.
Yeah, don't muck around.
Not to go outside, really.
But I've been a big proponent of helmets to be worn while cycling and skateboarding for a long time, and I'm sure people will remind me of that. But the point is, A, when I rode the lines, I was drunk, and B, I didn't have access to a helmet, otherwise I would have worn one. If it came with a special inflatable pop-up helmet, I'd bosh it on, but they don't. And when you're drunk, you make bad decisions, so even worse.
Yeah.
To be fair, I went very slowly when the kids were on it, but when I was in Stockholm, I was absolutely fucking caning that thing around.
Yeah, I went on one in Lisbon. And for the most part, it was fine. Looking back now, I'm surprised I didn't die because the traffic and everything was quite bad, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But one thing that happened was when I was trying to go over like the road median, I had to like lift the scooter, and it hit my ankle, and my ankle was sore for like 2 weeks after.
Oh man!
I know. Yeah.
I had to go off a curb at one point, and I just jumped it. I like bunny hopped it off.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy I was riding with, to T Governor, I said, "Watch this, T." And he was like, "All right, I'm watching." And I just fucking caught some sick air and jumped off the curb. Felt like a very cool man, but it could have been really disastrous.
Yeah.
I could have just gone flying. Stupid.
Is that guy back to life?
Yeah, he's come back.
The Segway.
He said, yeah, they've got a pulse. The pulse is back.
It's Trot. Trot has survived the Segway fall and he's back.
Oh, fantastic. What a relief.
Get back to work, Trot.
Poor Trot, man. Seeing poor little Trot take a tumble like that, it's pretty upsetting.
It hurts, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Yeah. I had some domestic upheaval recently. Would you like to hear about it?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
baby. Spicy
gosh.
tea. Spill it. Spill that tea.
We had our boiler replaced.
Oh.
We've gone electric, baby, but it meant 4 days of no hot water,
Oh, Lord.
no running water really until like the evening and stuff. So it was a bit touch and go, but we soldiered through it. It was fine. And
I had this.
now we got a nice quiet electric boiler, which is not in the same place the old boiler was in. And it's freed up this huge cabinet in our kitchen where we're going to build this spectacular set of drawers, like pantry style drawers and a cupboard on top. Oh, man.
Wow, you do need that.
Yeah.
Because your
I
kitchen
have like a
space is at
big
premium.
deep drawer to put like cereal boxes and stuff into.
Yeah.
Another like a little like spicy drawer, like
That
a
sounds
thin drawer
glorious.
for some spices
Yeah.
and stuff. Oh.
Your kitchen is properly a family kitchen, right? It's got a
Yeah.
bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And every cupboard is stacked to the
Just
max
stacked, yeah.
with
Old
everything.
crap that nobody uses.
Yeah.
Old cups that nobody touches anymore, like just old condiments and shit that nobody's ever opened. Like
You know when do you ever do that big kitchen clear out of
Never.
your cupboard? Okay.
No,
Well,
I don't think Sips
if
has
you
ever
ever
done
did
but-
it, it's amazing the stuff you find.
oh,
back
I can
there.
imagine.
Like
That's why we don't do
packets
it.
of sauces that you can just add water and add 2 chicken and 3 tablespoons of onions and you get Spanish chicken. That kind of shit.
Yeah.
That you buy, you think, oh yeah, well that sounds
And
Spanish
it went
chicken.
out of
yeah.
date in 2008.
Yeah, but it's just a powder. I mean, how bad can it go, really? It's just powder.
I found one of those the other day when I moved to this place. I think it was out of date when I moved, but I was like, oh, I'll just use it. And then, I forgot it for another 5 years.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely like that in there. There's some forgotten stuff in the back of some of your cupboard Sips, I remember.
Yes.
I was like, do you have some mustard? And you were like, I definitely do, but you're gonna have to dive into it.
You gotta look for it. Yeah.
It's gotta find it.
It's a mustard hunt. It's a good
yeah.
old-fashioned mustard
It's
hunt.
in there somewhere. Some things we every once in a while, like we don't do like a full kitchen, but like sometimes a cupboard will just get so bad that one of us will just say, oh,
Something
pull
must be
everything
done.
out and just try to reorganize it a little bit, sort of thing. And
Yeah.
the amount of stuff that comes out of any cupboard that is out of date is unbelievable. Like you just hang on to this stuff for no reason, just for it to go out of date, and then you just think, oh well, I'm not eating that now. Just chuck it out. It's such a waste of time. It's crazy.
Yeah, I like to have a good clear out, but a similar thing happened to me with my. I think I talked about it before you guys went away. But my boiler was broken and leaking through the ceiling and dripping into the corridor downstairs. And so yeah, I had no hot water for a whole week. So I was showering in the office. It was mental. I did not enjoy it. Well, I had a couple of cold showers and then I was just like, I can't deal with this. But fortunately, it was warm enough weather that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. If it was happened in winter, I would have been going crazy. Having no hot water. But how did your family manage, Sips? Did you take showers somewhere else, or what did you do?
No, we were able. They put the element on in the tank every night before they finished up, because they're tradespeople, right? So they start early and end early. So like 3:30, 4 o'clock they were out. But before they left, they would make sure the element was on in the tank, the old tank for a while, but then the new tank, because we had to get a new water tank as well. And so we were able to shower like at night, but like by the time the tank warmed up, it was like late at night sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it was okay. Like it was all right. We just bought lots of bottled water for the day, like people needed water for whatever, got thirsty, and then just washed at night. It was all right. But it's the upheaval of having crap everywhere, people coming in and out of your house all day. Like, like we couldn't really use the house like we normally would. We were just kind of stuck in the lounge, with the doors closed, because there's all these people trudging in and out with stuff. They had to do a whole bunch of stuff on like the side of the house to drill holes in for like new electrics and shit like that.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was
That sounds like a
it was
big job.
quite a big job. Yeah, it's worth doing though. I mean, we don't have to order fuel now, which is kind of nice, and we don't have this big noisy jet engine in our kitchen anymore. So, it's probably cleaner, and it'll probably save us money in the long run too, because like the cost of fuel.
Do you have to fuel it?
Yeah, it was an oil boiler, so
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
kerosene, I guess.
Wow.
We had
there's
there's
old
like a
school.
massive 200-gallon fuel tank on the side of the garage I'm sitting in right now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's pretty old school. So yeah, can get rid of that now, which will free up some space for like a little shed or something for bikes and stuff.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Moving into the future.
moving into
get
the
How
future.
exciting.
I know,
How
so
exciting.
exciting. Yeah.
Get some solar panels. Get like a windmill, little wind turbine.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I can give you guys a little thing that we did around the house. We did it ourselves because it was a small job. We fitted, if you've got Velux windows in your loft conversion, those are those windows where you sort of pull down at the top of the window. There's like a
Yes.
sort of lever that you go clonk, and then you pull, and the window pivots around a central point. So if you imagine in the middle of the window, just for anyone that doesn't know what a Velux is, I'm sure everybody does. Those windows where you pull down at the top and it sort of hinges around the center of the window.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan, but they're
I love
okay.
them. They're great.
Okay.
They're great. They're great windows. Very good windows. It's this blind that you can get for the outside of the window. So we've got blinds on the inside. They're built in, but you can also fit very easily. And the Velux people have thought about this, and I like that. When you install the Velux windows, it instructs you to drill these little holes in the wood at the top of the bracket where the Velux sits. If you remove this bit of plastic there that I don't know what it does, you take that bit of plastic out and you put this blind in above it, and then you attach it to hooks on the outside of the window that you install. The screw holes are there already on the window. When you close the window, the blind is automatically drawn down because it's attached to the bottom of the window. And so you've got a blind on the outside, and it reduces the light from the sun hitting the window, because the problem is our top room heats up a lot during the day because there's sunlight pounding down on it all the time. So it hits the glass, goes through the glass, and even if it hits the blind on the inside, it's trapped in by the glass and the heat radiates into the room and heats it up. So if you put this blind on the outside of the window, it reflects quite a lot of that light and heat, and it keeps the room cooler. Thrilling stuff.
It is amazing.
That's incredible. I love dad things like that, the little things in life.
So how does the blind work on the outside then? Is it just like, I don't
It's
understand.
just a durable sort of plastic black blind with lots of little holes in. So during the day, it still lets in quite a bit of light, but it's sort of filtered and it doesn't let in as much. It is genuinely fascinating. I couldn't tell you how easy it was to install, thanks to the good folks at Velux.
Yeah.
It only took us 25 minutes to do all three. And I'd like to give them a shout out, if I may. We're not sponsored by Velux this week, but if they'd like to sponsor us in future,
that sounds like a
recommend.
big ups opportunity for Velux, who sounds like
I thought you were against them, but I'd be happy to give one.
We started doing one big up per
a week
per podcast.
Okay,
so
well,
this can be.
if I may, I'd like to give a big up to Velux. Velux windows, very good.
You
and
may.
their little blind system was excellent. There, one big up.
Is this really what we're using it on? Okay, no.
Sorry, did you have a better fucking idea?
Yeah.
No, but it was still another 20 minutes of the podcast.
I would big up
else,
the electric company, our local electric company that did my boiler. If I could, but maybe
Electric.
Yeah, but maybe I'll do it next week. I don't want to ruin the
wait till they
the
finished.
format. No, they're done. It's all done.
Oh, they're done.
They're done. It's done and dusted, baby. It's all in. We're in the future already.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're humming.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Plumbing is dad life, isn't it?
I've got to tell you, lads,
Ben's toilet was broken. He had to get a new toilet, so we didn't have a toilet for 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
That's
These
a
topics are really helping my
That's a
jet
life.
lag. Really
Yeah, no,
helping us stay
you're
awake.
gonna sleep like a baby tonight.
Talking about boilers and blinds and toilets. Oh yeah, well, what kind of toilet did you go for? Only 7,000-8,000.
We can talk about the
of
weather a bit too if you want. It's been real nice over here. It's 18 degrees right
Instantly,
now.
I heard Trot has like a futuristic toilet in his place.
Is it one of those
That's
Japanese
Trot.
ones that wipes your ass for you?
I think so. Yeah, it's got a control. It's got like a remote control.
How do you
for it
get
when
one
sit
of those
down.
over here?
I don't know. You have to
buy
order
them
it
from
special.
Japan and ship them, I guess.
Probably. There's probably somewhere that.
I don't think that they
fancy
ship them
toilet.
though. It's like they I think they try to keep it internal, like I don't think they want the rest of the world to enjoy their toilets.
I reckon you could get them from any place you get toilets. I reckon now.
Really?
I reckon they're selling
What, the toilet
selling the
store?
electric
I don't
ones.
think we have a toilet store over here. I think you have to go to
Wouldn't
B&Q
the
or
advert
whatever.
would say wherever you buy your toilets, what available from good toilet.
Retailers everywhere.
Okay, but yeah, go to
everywhere.
B&Q though and let me know if they actually have them there, because last time
Have
I
you
went,
got any of those Japanese toilets
you
that
got
wipe
any
your
of those
ass for you?
fancy mist spraying, music playing, strobe lights,
Robo toilets.
lasers, smoke
Yeah,
show
aisle
toilets?
4, mate. Aisle 4.
I don't know if I'd want to get one of those fancy toilets, because I think people would think I was some sort of pervert, you know?
You think there's something slightly perverse in
I don't
having a
think they
fancy
would think
toilet?
that you're a pervert. I think that they would think that you're awesome for having a
I
toilet
don't mind
that.
like a bidet, right? Like I wouldn't mind like a bidet. I think that is obviously very continental. It's quite European. It's fine, you know, to have a little bit of a.
I don't know.
I just think
they're not that common in the UK though.
I
You
think
get
a
them
weird
sometimes.
selection
but...
of different bum sprays and heating systems, like a heated toilet seat, and stuff like this. I don't know if
bum
I
sprays.
don't know, that's just I think it's too much, you know. I don't like the idea of. I just don't like it. I just don't like the idea of it being electronic, right? I don't mind my iPad watching me, but my toilet watching me, I don't know. I don't know if I want that.
It's getting like every time you sit on it, it's doing an upskirt on you. It's taking a picture and it's sending it to a database somewhere.
Emailing it straight to Japan.
Yeah, it's emailing it
They
straight
love
to
that over
Japan,
there.
and they're staring deep inside your asshole for hours on end.
Well, maybe there's a guy who's like, looking to point where to spray the hose. You know, maybe it's his job is to like see.
Maybe they can like do remote.
It's like 5 o'clock is a bit
adjustments.
dirty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There's a guy 24-hour butt spray.
Yeah,
remote
yeah.
There's a bit
butt
of
spray.
there's a bit of toilet roll at 11 o'clock.
There's
you
some
know, on
lag
the-
though, isn't there? Like from Japan, the lag would be.
They can
about
do the
500
same thing with the
500
Mars
milliseconds.
rover, right? They can make like little adjustments that take like hours to update or whatever. They can
Right.
adjust the angle of the spray nozzle of your toilet from Japan, and the latency time would only be a couple of seconds, right?
I mean, I wouldn't expect the toilet to be responding that fast, P-Flex. I don't want like super.
Yeah, but you might adjust your seat and suddenly there's
But I want
water
to be able
spraying.
to. I want to sit down and be able to prepare. I don't want instant, like laser targeted poo spray removal.
You say
do
that
you know what I
now.
mean?
You say
I want
that
to be
now.
able to brace myself for the jet.
I think that the anticipation would kill you though.
Bracing for impact. Yeah, you have to like hold on to the
Warning.
rails. Yeah, warning.
Spraying in 3, 2.
But what if a live voice came over an intercom? Hold still. Brace for impact. Brace for impact. I'm going to spray your anus with water now. Thank you. No problem.
Thank you.
You can do like a big little Richard like after the spray happens so that he can hear it. Wow! Woo!
It's like we're in a water park.
Oh. I like the idea of that. I like that somebody in some like weird dystopian future, that's like somebody's like Stanley Parable job. He's
All
just
right,
sitting
go
at a
kid.
desk. There's just one light on in his office. The rest of the office is empty. He's like hunched over a little computer and he's just making adjustments to the sprayer on a toilet four countries away from his own. Oh man.
Yeah,
I
I think it'd be fine.
That's such a good idea for like like some lore.
A video game.
Yeah, for a video game, right?
Yeah.
Think of
that
all
would-
the simulators and stuff that you can get now. Like that's got to be one of them, right? Like you could make that as like a job simulator thing where your job is to just make remote adjustments to the mist spraying nozzle.
I feel like it's already probably a
Customers'
hentai
toilets.
game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's probably already there. Someone's already made
Oh,
that,
for
right?
like the upskirts and stuff like that.
For a fetish, yeah.
Yeah, because
I
there'd
reckon.
have to be a camera on the nozzle, right? So that you could get it right.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I mean, that's definitely someone's thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, no,
And then
no
you're
way
just
that's
spraying chunks of shit off of an ass in glorious
Like
4K.
power wash, Sim.
Yes. Oh my god! What an idea for a game, Lewis. What are we doing? We're wasted here. We could be making all of these fetish games. We would be so rich. We would have so much money. It would be insane.
Oh, P-Flex is on the phone. He's missed the gem there.
What are we
got-
thinking, eh? Like we could have.
Got an important. Poor Focal. Well, we need to get him on. We can't do it on our own. We need investors for our
We
terrible
need investors.
idea.
We need more designers too, right? We're gonna be like the new Blizzard. When Blizzard was good, remember when Blizzard was good and they had like all those rock star designers that would come out on stage and everything? Me, you, and Flax can do the same thing, but our whole company will just be 3 designers. We design games and come up with awesome ideas for games, and then just sell them to studios that are willing that have the balls to make these games reality, right? And mostly they will be fetish games.
Well,
of course.
yeah, but I think that's the secret, isn't it? You need to tap into that weird market, right?
Yeah.
And the meme market. You know, people will.
But that means you have to really understand it and get involved in it. My
my
worry is
God.
it would be a corrupting influence on.
But that's how we would all die.
You'd have to expose
That's
yourself
how,
to it
like
too
the
much.
Segway guy, we would die like a toilet would like have a really strong jet and it would like pierce your anus and like kill you. Or
All
you'd,
his
like,
injuries were consistent with a very powerful toilet
high-powered
jet
toilet spray.
going right up
Yeah.
his pooper.
Oh man.
That's how we'd all end up dying to the things we created.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's karmic. You know, though, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's how everyone should die. You know,
We all
like-
thought. By the way, we all thought we were over jet lag because yesterday was so easy, and I'd forgotten that the second day is when it really hits you.
Yeah.
So this morning, I woke up at about 4:30. I was having a mad dream that I was playing in a golf tournament, but the golf tournament was taking place in an office.
Right. It was
So
like a
everybody's
like
still-
a mini putt tournament.
No, it was like a proper golf tournament. Like I was expected to use full-size clubs.
Wow.
But it was a big office, but it was literally the green was just about 30 or 40 yards away, surrounded by desks and like secretaries working. And for some reason all the women in the office had very large amounts of facial hair, like big beards and mustaches. And I'm
Wow.
about to chip in and I look up and there's Doris is sat there on the phone and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, if you just knock it over me, I can see the green from here." And I was like, Jesus, what if I hit Doris with the ball? And I was just paralyzed looking at my club and looking at Doris and the green and thinking this is a disaster. And then I realized I had the wrong club. When I went to change my club out, my bag was just full of umbrellas and I was sorting
Wow.
through all these umbrellas trying to find the club, and then I woke up and I felt like shit. I was like, fuck, jet lag has struck again, because my dream was so weird I couldn't get back to sleep.
Yeah, they're like
that
almost
is-
like feverish dreams, right?
Yeah, it
That
was
is
bizarre.
a weird one. That is a especially weird one. Were you
Yeah.
feeling bad about not being able to take the shot? Were you feeling worried about Doris? Is she okay? Like, what
Well,
was?
The worst thing is there's added pressure in the dream because occasionally, like I said before, my dreams cut to like a different person's perspective, like I'm watching TV. And I was watching the TV coverage of Rory McIlroy, who was a famous golfer that I was playing against in this tournament. And he was
Right.
crushing it. He was doing really well. So I was like, Jesus.
He-
But I was not
He was
that
just
far
doing
behind.
drop shots off Jeff's
Yeah, he was
desk.
just knocking him off the desk. He had no compunctions about hitting this right over Doris. And there's me struggling. I'm thinking I might hit Doris. That didn't occur to Rory. Rory was just breezing it. And that added to the pressure.
That's great. I love that.
I love that.
Well, there you go. That was our bumper Triforce. Thank you, everyone,
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah.
Triforce Interrupted. Definitely, it was by phone calls, by a live stream, by children,
My crying child just
lorries,
then. Yeah.
by injured people, and
Wait, your kids
but
were
we
crying?
got through it.
I missed.
One of them, yeah.
Oh, I missed that. What happened?
She's not feeling well.
Oh, she's just tired.
It's the jet lag, yeah. It's the
Yeah,
jet lag.
yeah.
She's got a minging headache, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
no.
so she was like, "Ugh."
Oh,
and she was
that-
crying because she knows that when the door is closed and I'm recording, please don't come in. So she was worried about coming in during the recording because yesterday she did it just to say hello.
Yeah.
And I was like, can you not do that when I'm recording, please? And she was like,
Oh.
I'm sorry. So now she was worried about doing it. So I feel like a fucking terrible dad as usual.
Well, you know, don't worry, P-Flex. You could go and make it all better now. Go and buy her.
She's
buy her
alright.
a-
Stuck her in
buy her
bed.
a muffin or something.
I got her a paracetamol and stuck her in bed. She'll be
All
alright.
right. Well, there you go. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back to normal next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And with new boilers, new toilets, new fresh attitudes.
Oh hell yeah.
New looks and new top takes on the things that are going on in the world. All right,
What a
take it easy,
thrilling
everyone.
episode. See you next time.
We'll see you next
See you
time.
later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.